Konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Torisha desu. Hello, my name is Trisha, and today we'll be having a brief tutorial about teaching IPA to Japanese students. This word, in Japanese, it is pronounced as kot, while using IPA, it is pronounced as coat. Example, the lady is wearing a beautiful coat.
This word, in Japanese, it is pronounced as sa, while in IPA, it is pronounced as so. Example, I saw a girl.
This word in Japanese pronounced as kas, while in IPA it is pronounced as cause. For example, cigarette is the cause of lung cancer.
This word in Japanese it is pronounced as tal, while IPA it is pronounced atol. Example, Joshua Lorenzo is tall.
This word in Japanese pronounced as most, while in IPA it is pronounced as most. Example, my mom is the most beautiful girl I know.
This word, in Japanese, it is pronounced as let, while in IPA, it is pronounced as late. Example, the girl was late yesterday in her class.
Ra, ri, ru, re, ro. This set is tricky. It's not like the English R. It is pronounced by pressing the tongue to the top of the mouth like L. However, the tongue should touch a little further back in the mouth than L. When you say the Japanese R, only touch the very tip of your tongue to the top of the mouth. Unlike L, where you touch a big part of the tongue to the top of the mouth. You can add a little trick or flick to it to make it sound a little bit like the English D, especially when you are talking fast. Consonants are pronounced like English letter sound, except for R, which is pronounced between L and an R. A, I, U, E, O. Japanese vowels are pronounced briefly except for long vowels.
Tip number 1, passion and professionalism. In Japan, being a teacher is a regarded and respected profession. Japanese people place their teachers in the same category as doctors, lawyers, politicians, and authors. To honor this noble profession, you should always display the utmost professionalism. Make sure you always dress professionally and your behavior reflects professionalism as well. Don't forget to show students you're passionate about teaching and show them you want to be there for them and not just to earn paycheck and live abroad.
Tip number 2. Don't forget to encourage and motivate. Don't worry if, at first, your students seem unresponsive. It will take some time for students to warm up to their English teacher. Culturally, Japanese students sometimes feel hesitant to speak English because they fear to get their answer wrong or making mistakes. Since both languages are so different, they might lose motivation from time to time. It's up to you to continue to encourage them to try their best. Show them it doesn't matter if they make mistakes. Always continue to motivate them to speak using positive encouragement.
Tip number 3. Bring all the energy you got. It's easy to feel pressure wear you down after all. Teaching English in Japan has its challenges. Not only you find yourself in a foreign country and away from your family, but you also have a lot to prove. No matter what, you don't lose any of your energy because your lesson will depend on you. Whether you teach high school students or kindergartens, you will have to keep your students engaged. And if your batteries are depleted, students will notice.
Tip number 4, Let your students speak. Since Japanese students, depending on their professional goals, will have few opportunities to practice English, you should let them speak. Japanese students often complain their English teachers spend too much time talking. You don't want to be that teacher, that's for sure. Craft your lesson plans with plenty of activities and opportunities for them to be talkative. After all, some of these students might require speaking fluent English to succeed in the business world. Give them the best chance to practice speaking as much as possible.
Tip number 5. Use tools students are familiar with. Teaching English in Japan will give you the opportunity to learn new things. Why not start by learning what Japanese students like? If you incorporate references they are familiar with such as popular characters from TV and movies, they might be more responsive to you. Not only will it help them feel like less like fish out of water, but they will also appreciate you taking the time to learn what they like. Start by using these characters in their lessons plan.
Tip number 6. Be respectful of the culture. It might be nice for you to tell your students about where you come from and what it's like. You might even bring a few objects and photos to show them where you're from. After all, children are curious by nature. However, if you're teaching English in Japan, be careful not to undermine their culture. If sometime will sound like complaining, avoid saying it to your students. Japanese people take a lot of pride in their culture. Instead of questioning their culture, you could ask your students to recommend things or show them you're interested in fitting in.
And that's all. Thank you.